Right now in the healing world, everybody is talking about this concept of survival mode or fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. But what is survival mode and how do we know what that looks like in our bodies? Do we need to exit it? Is it really bad for us? Today, we are going to talk about it. I'm Joelle, and I am on a mission to help you heal the past, be at peace in the present, and create a future you love so you can live your joy. If you've been feeling constantly exhausted, on edge, or jumpy, like things happen, normal things, and your body starts like you've been shocked, you're not alone. Most of us have been stuck in survival mode, or this concept of fight, flight, or freeze for a long time without even knowing we are in it. When we are stuck in survival mode, it makes it really challenging for us to be present in our bodies and to make conscious and wise choices without the past impacting our future. In today's video, we are going to talk about the signs that you are stuck in survival mode, why it happens, and most importantly, how you can shift out of it so you can start feeling grounded and authentic in your life again. If this resonates with you, stick with me. Let's get into it. So before we go any further, let's talk about what survival mode is, because I think there's a lot of confusion right now about what this actually is compared to what a trauma response is or what just a big emotion is, because they are not the same things. Okay, our nervous system is designed to protect us from danger. When something happens, we are wired to respond. Now, way back in the day when Neanderthals walked the world, we might be out hunting and a saber-toothed tiger would come around the corner. Our bodies are biologically designed to, number one, recognize danger. If a saber-toothed tiger walks around the corner, I need to be wired to recognize the danger first and not pay attention to, maybe the beautiful sunset behind me. Immediately, there's a biological response in our bodies when the switch goes off and we recognize something as dangerous. Saber-toothed tiger. What's going to happen is our pupils are going to dilate so we can distinguish things better with our sight. Our senses are going to turn on hyper alert. So our sense of smell, our sense of hearing, all of those are going to go up real quick. Our heart rate is going to start going really fast. So adrenaline is going to pump into the body. The blood in our body is going to immediately flood away from our internal organs into our external organs in a preparation to fight, flight, or freeze. If you're about to face off with a saber-toothed tiger, you don't need to be worrying about digesting your lunch, right? You're biologically wired to deal with the danger in front of you first. And then when things go back to being calm, you're ready to digest your lunch. Now, the problem is that way back in the day, danger was legitimately a saber-toothed tiger. It would be handled, and then the nervous system would go back to a peaceful state. We would enter survival mode, enter fight, flight, or freeze, and then we would leave it. Adrenaline and cortisol would spike in the body, and then it would drop back down. And different hormones like dopamine and serotonin and oxytocin would enter the body. Now, I think you know where I'm going with this. In today's world, our culture has programmed everything that could be a tiny, minute threat to be a saber-toothed tiger. So the threat is no longer a real life, for example, car accident about to happen. The threat is now potential not enough likes on social media, or your friend or partner getting along with you, or your boss not liking the work you did on your latest project. Right? Everything has become more and more of a fear-based thing, when in reality, that alarm system was designed to protect us from physical harm. not necessarily these other things that, is it disappointing if a project doesn't turn out the way you want, or, you and your partner aren't agreeing on something? Sure, but are you going to lose an arm over it or potentially be eaten for lunch? No, but our bodies don't know the difference. Our bodies react to all of these things as if we were actually in physical danger. Now, unfortunately, most of us have been in this state for so long, it's become our normal. And we have a really hard time getting out of it without assistance or without help. And to be honest with you, a lot of the people I talk to don't even realize that they are in survival mode or in fight, flight, or freeze, because our culture glorifies so many of the aspects of living this way. For example, somebody who is constantly on go mode, right? Like, respect the hustle, get out there, never taking a break. Our culture glorifies perfectionists, where everything is right and you went the extra effort, did the extra mile. If you have a hard time sitting down and not doing anything, if you have a hard time knowing when work ends and when work starts, if you feel exhausted in your body but can't turn off your mind, you most likely are in survival mode. And I will be the first one to tell you guys, guilty as charged, okay? I have a hard time with this myself, which is one of the reasons why I've been really committed to this work over the past several years. Coming out of my background, and in my last video I shared my story, I was constantly in survival mode. Everything was a panic. Everything had to be dealt with immediately. And I really struggled to prioritize what needed to be done now and what really could wait. It wasn't an emergency. When you're in survival mode, everything is an emergency. And when you're in survival mode, everything is about you. It's really, really challenging to have perspective and not take people personally when you are jacked up on adrenaline and in this frantic state of trying to just get things done and make things okay. So everyone take a deep breath. And let's just recognize that it's okay. A lot of people in our culture right now are struggling with this. And being in survival mode may come out of a trauma background or a traumatic event, but it is different than a trauma response, okay? Or what you might call a trigger. So just to identify that these two things do look different, and they might overlap in how they present. They are different in how I would go about coaching a client to heal those things and to process that trauma and alchemize the energy. So today we are talking about survival mode, because this is something that I think is so important to talk about. It is so important to recognize that unless we as a generation, and I'm going to be 40 this year, so unless we as a generation are ready to look at this and take responsibility for co-creating this culture, we are going to pass this down to our children. I don't know about you, but I would really love to raise my children in a culture where the norm was not a state of survival mode. I would really love to raise my children in a culture where we consciously co-created a state of energetic peace and calm. So, if you're not sure, here are some signs that you are running on survival mode. You are constantly exhausted, no matter how much you rest, and you feel your heart beating irregularly. That's because your body is running on adrenaline. You feel anxious and worried, even when nothing is, quote unquote, wrong. You feel on edge. Behind the scenes, what's going on is your nervous system is constantly looking out for danger, trying to predict when the next thing is going to fall or the next domino is going to go over. You have a hard time focusing or making decisions. This sometimes can mask as ADHD or ADD, or even just being really scatterbrained, like having mom brain or something like that. When you are in survival mode, you are running off of the reptilian part of your brain, which is down at the bottom of your base stem. And the logical, rational part of your brain is up here in the neocortex. So making logical and rational decisions when you are in this state is incredibly challenging. Another sign is that you experience physical symptoms. They may look like headaches, gut issues, inability to sleep. Okay, all of these things can go back to survival mode. Obviously, if we break this down, we go into survival mode. The blood goes away from our internal organs and into our external organs because the body is physically preparing to fight or flight. If our bodies stay in that state for too long, you can imagine, well, obviously we are going to have gut issues. Obviously we are going to have a hard time sleeping. Obviously we are going to have a disconnect between the body and the brain. Because how can we even just properly digest our food if there is no blood to take the nourishment from our gut to the different organs in our body, right? So from a very biological state, we can see how being in this survival mode can cause some really, really serious issues if enough years stack up in this way of living. Lastly, you might feel disconnected or numb. After so many years of being in constant survival mode, our bodies might start to experience something called disassociation, where the constant input of all of this danger becomes too much. It becomes overwhelming. And so we start to numb out. We start to feel like we're daydreaming all the time. We start to disconnect. We aren't present in our bodies. And the reason behind the scenes for that is because our bodies quite literally have become a dangerous place to be. Consciously, nobody wants to live in a danger zone 24/7. That's exhausting. So a survival mechanism, a protective mechanism of the brain is to quite literally disassociate from the body. We're here, but we're not present. If any of these symptoms resonate with you, don't freak out, don't worry. It's okay. You are not broken, and you can guide yourself out of that state. It takes commitment, it takes practice, but what doesn't? Let's talk about how to move out of survival mode and into a grounded state of peace and love and ease. Because I don't know about you, but peace and love and ease sound a lot better than living in fight, flight, or freeze. Here are some quick, easy things that you can do to help move your body out of survival mode. Let's say you are present in your body and you can feel that adrenaline coming up. Maybe you just got an email from your boss at work, or maybe you are waiting for a piece of mail and it hasn't arrived yet and you don't really know what it's going to be, right? Maybe you're waiting on a deadline. Whatever it is, you can start to feel that adrenaline happen. Here's something you can do, super simple, incredibly effective. Take both of your feet, plant them on the floor. Sit back in your chair, one hand over your belly, one hand over your heart. Close your eyes, roll your shoulders back and down, sit up tall. And I want you to take a big deep breath in. You're going to breathe into your belly, then into your chest. Your heart is going to rise up. You're going to feel your ribs expand on the sides. And we're going to hold that big breath in. And then you're slowly going to exhale. It's very important that your exhale is longer than your inhale. So slow exhale through the nose. And as you exhale, imagine your energy going down into the earth. Do it again. Big breath in through the belly, then into the chest. Hold it at the top. Slow exhale. Do this a few times. Now, if you take my yoga class, you know that I do this in just about every single class. We usually do this at the beginning because I know that most of my students are coming out of running the kids around, coming from jobs, coming from prepping dinner, whatever it is, and needing to ground their bodies and exit any states of fight, flight, or freeze. And me too, when I come into yoga class. We're all here doing this together, right? Now, biologically, when your exhale is longer than your inhale, and you consciously make that choice, that on its own is going to start to remove the adrenaline from your body, because the long exhale activates the vagus nerve, which is directly involved in the survival mode. So we want to exhale nice and long and bring the body's energy down into the earth. Try that one. I know it's like, wow, how can a 10-second little tip do anything for me? 10 seconds can make a huge difference if you are mentally connected to what you're doing in that 10 seconds. The next tip, if you want to gently move out of fight, flight, or freeze, is to move your body. This, honestly, is why I am so passionate about the yoga that I teach and my own personal yoga practice. In today's world, moving our bodies has become a luxury, and it shouldn't be. Even something as simple as going outside, putting your feet on the earth, and walking for 2 minutes can make a huge difference. So if you can, try to get skin to earth. The earth has an electromagnetic pulse, and our bodies are designed to connect with the electromagnetic field of the earth. Obviously, Neanderthals were not designed to wear shoes, right? A long time ago, we walked barefoot on the earth. We still are meant to. Now, the problem in today's culture is that we wear these things called shoes. And what's on the bottom of shoes? Rubber. Rubber does not conduct electricity. So we have become a species that is on the earth, but most of the time completely disconnected from it. Take off your shoes. Socks are fine, right? Or you can actually purchase some different grounding shoes that do conduct the electromagnetic field of the earth. I can link some down below. Put your feet on the ground. That's all you need to do. Move around. Walk. Walk for 2 minutes. That's all you got to do. Breathe in that fresh air, maybe do that breathing technique, and I promise you will feel different when you go back inside. Now, if you do not have access to go outside, what I highly recommend is shaking it out. Not like Taylor Swift, shake it out, like shaking your body. So we do this in a lot of my yoga classes, and that can look like shaking your arms, shaking your shoulders, right? Physically shaking it out. You can brush the energy off. You can do some gentle spirals, whatever that looks like. This is incredibly important. Stagnant energy easily slips into survival mode. We are not designed to stay still. We are not designed to be stagnant. The only things on this planet that are stagnant are dead. Okay? Don't be stagnant. Move. If you need to shift your energy, shift your body. You will be absolutely astounded by what happens. Last but not least, if you are not able to move your body, you're not able to get outside, or maybe you don't have it in your body at that moment to do a breathing exercise. Take 10 seconds and just recognize what is going on for you. Recognize what's going on for you, even if you can't get out of it. That little minute separation of being able to say, hey, I recognize that I am in a state of fight, flight, or freeze right now, will help dramatically move the processing of your brain from that reptilian brain up to the rational part of the brain. The more you do that, the more quickly that shift will happen, and you'll slowly be able to access that rational and logical part of your brain, even when the anxiety hits, when the stress hits, and when the adrenaline jacks all the way up. Those are my 3 tips. Now, if you are feeling like, wow, I need more than just 3 tips, right? I need some help. I need some support. And trust me, I've been there. There are times where I am still there. We are all human. We are all in this journey together. And I am by no means perfect. I teach these things because these are the things that I practice, and these are the things that have changed my life along the way. So if you want more, I am accepting clients now. If you are interested in working with me, I would love to hear from you, and I would be honored to support you on your healing journey. I do have a special offering right now open to women. This program is called Becoming Her. And the waitlist is open right now. Registration opens Monday, March 17th, and the program will start the week of April 7th. I will put all of the information down below, but if you are looking for a program piece where you get to be a part of a community, you get one-on-one sessions with me, you get a beautiful guided journal that is going to take you through every single day of this program, check out Becoming Her. I am so excited for what is going to come out of this program, and I know that it is going to be a transformative experience for everyone involved. So with that, what's survival mode like for you? I would love to continue this conversation in the comments. Drop your thoughts below, and if you learned something in this video or are taking something away, definitely hit that like button, subscribe, and I will talk to you next time.